Welcome to the Cop Eye Podcast with your hosts Mick Moran and Jay Pearson.
George Sephton's relationship with Liverpool Football Club began in 1971 when he wrote the club secretary applying to be the stadium announcer. His first match also marked the debut of Kevin Keegan. For the past 50 years, Sephton has been at Anfield for all but a handful of home fixtures, as well as travelling with the team to major finals. From the highs of winning numerous league titles and European Cups to the lows of Heysel and Hillsborough, Sephton has been with Liverpool through it all. From encounters with great managers and legendary players, from Bill Shankly to Kenny Dalglish, Steven Gerrard to Jurgen Klopp, he tells his unique and entertaining story of the greatest club in the world. The structure of this book is fantastic. The foreword is by none other than Kenny Dalglish, who spoke so highly of George and how integral he is at Anfield. The sleeve notes are by Elvis Costello, a great friend of George and an idol to him. Straight away you get the feel of how incredible this story is going to be. The book begins with reflection as George looks back on how his routine has changed over the years, especially with how the stadium has changed, but mostly how physical media has changed. George has been through it all, from vinyl all the way to today's digital mediums. Music is a big part of his book. George is quite infamous for giving local bands exposure at Anfield, and to this day it still gives him that sense of joy when he plays their music. The book is sectioned into 6 parts covering every season. Part 1 is the 50s and 60s, Part 2 the 70s, Part 3 the 80s, Part 4 the 90s, Part 5 the 2000s, and Part 6 the 2010s, including our first Premier League title win, our 19th overall, and all the drama that came with it, and a great little epilogue after it. I really like the parallels that went along with each season's story. He tells us what music was top of the charts during each campaign and lets us into his family life, which is a great addition to the individual season stories. George covers them so well, but with incredible balance, and what I mean by that is that each season is a couple of pages at most, so it's easy to digest and move from season to season. However, when there's league titles, days out to Wembley, trips around Europe, winning trophies and gathering cups in May, George has got some incredible stories. Obviously, depending on your age as a reader, you'll have more of an affinity to the seasons that you remember. But you do get that behind-the-scenes look back as well, so it's really, really amazing. For example, I was born in 1985, so obviously from the 90s onwards are my definitive memories, and I know a lot about our history anyway, but reading about these things you wouldn't normally know about gives each season that added extra. It's amazing how times change and you hear the stories of the old days and how things were, and just an incredible time. George may be an employee of Liverpool Football Club. Oh, by the way, a casual one at that, which does make me laugh. He's still down as a casual employee. I won't go into too much detail about that, I'll let George tell you, but it is a baffling tale. Anyway, he's an employee, but this book is also told through the eyes of a supporter. That's what he is first and foremost. From the day his wife Liz joined him at Anfield for a game that changed his life. As George knew he could do a better job than the current announcer, and as good wives do in their coverways, Liz said, "Could you do any better?" Turns out he could. So really we should all be thanking Liz for her smart thinking. The book has the highs and lows of Liverpool Football Club and is told in a professional, emotional way that not just Liverpool fans will appreciate. George is very kind to go into detail about his work life alongside his job at Anfield, and you will be surprised to hear how his career panned out. There are many laughs in this book too, with some eye-opening stories, like the time Bill Shankly was running around Anfield after George and wanted to give him a good telling off. Then there was the time George was held at gunpoint multiple times. Nope, seriously, that's absolutely true. Unbelievable tales in this one. This is a book that every Liverpool fan should read. George has been a part of the furniture for over 50 years and is the longest serving stadium announcer in the world. If you've been to Anfield or heard his voice through the TV from a live game, it's a unique voice that is recognised by thousands and thousands of people. Which reminds me, if you prefer to listen to audiobooks whilst you're in the car, then George narrates this one too, which is just velvet to your ears. I've read this book twice and listened to the audiobook, and each time I've taken more from it, and I can't recommend this book enough. In late 2019, we had the pleasure of interviewing George. He told us how this book was in development, and I knew then it would be a good read. However, it's completely exceeded those expectations. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate George on this book. It's an incredible story full of emotion that brings back so many memories, no matter what age you are. Thank you, George, for an incredible 50 years at Anfield, and the good thing is, there's no signs of slowing down.